All right, let's talk about something we've all heard and probably even argued about. The idea that overpowered characters are just, well, boring. Today, we're going to dive deep into that whole problem, and we'll use one really fascinating character as our guide.
I mean, this is the big debate, isn't it? On one hand, come on, who doesn't love watching a character just walk into a room and completely dominate? It's pure wish fulfillment. But on the other hand, there's that nagging criticism. If a hero can solve any problem with a snap of their fingers, where's the tension? It kind of just ruins the story.
Okay, so to really get into this, we first need to get a handle on what separates a character who's just really, really strong from one who is truly game-breakingly overpowered.
And this, right here, is the key difference. A strong character still has to work within the rules of their world. They face obstacles, they struggle, they grow. But an overpowered character, they flip the whole script. They don't just face the challenge. For everyone else in the story, they are the challenge.
And when that happens, you get this cascade of story problems. If one person can fix everything, the stakes just evaporate. The supporting cast, they become totally irrelevant, just cheerleaders on the sideline. And you see writers tying themselves in knots, inventing these really awkward reasons to just get the OP character out of the way so the plot can actually move forward.
But maybe, just maybe, we're looking at this whole thing the wrong way. As this quote points out, maybe the issue isn't the power level itself. Maybe the problem is the kind of challenge we give them. The real fight isn't always something you can punch. Which brings us to this really crucial idea. Perhaps the most compelling conflicts are the ones that power can't solve. You know, think about Superman for a second. In the story Peace on Earth, he tries to solve world hunger. Sounds like a job for Superman, right? But he fails. Not because he isn't strong enough, but because the real enemies are things you can't hit. Politics, corruption, fear, human nature. His powers are basically useless against that stuff.
So, if the real fight is internal, how does a character even approach that? Well, for an answer, we can actually turn to philosophy and a really powerful concept from Friedrich Nietzsche. The big idea here is that the ultimate test isn't about changing the world around you. It's about changing your relationship with your own reality, a reality you can't change. It's about learning not just to accept your fate, but to actually love it, the good, the bad, and all the suffering that comes with it. And this idea perfectly illustrates the core struggle of the character we're focusing on today, Assyria Semiramis. On the surface, Assyria is the absolute definition of overpowered. She's known as the one who cleans, a legendary assassin so feared that entire governments won't mess with her. She's the strongest trauma user in her world, which is a fancy way of saying she can warp reality itself. She is, for all intents and purposes, a god. But all of that unbelievable power is built on a foundation of absolute, crushing powerlessness. Her entire life, from childhood right up to the present, has been one traumatic event after another. Just a relentless, brutal cycle of suffering and abuse. And here's the crucial part. Despite having the power to literally shatter the planet, in her own mind, she's still a slave. Her immense strength hasn't freed her. It's only trapped her further, making her a tool for other people's ambitions. She has all the power in the universe, but absolutely no purpose of her own. And that deep internal contradiction, well, that creates the one true enemy that she can never, ever defeat with force. Her struggle is a perfect example of what the psychologist and Holocaust survivor Viktor Frankl called an existential vacuum. It's that deep, hollowing despair that comes from a profound lack of meaning or purpose in your life. Her story really poses this fascinating question about what power even means. Because her true antagonist isn't a person she can fight or a problem she can destroy. It's a feeling. It's the crushing weight of believing that her life, her incredible suffering, and even her godlike power have absolutely no value at all. Assyria's journey gives us a fantastic blueprint for how to write these seemingly unbeatable characters in a way that's actually compelling. Let's break down how this creates a much more meaningful story. See, this model totally shifts the focus. You start by establishing their overwhelming power, sure, but then you introduce a problem that their power is useless against, something like trauma or meaninglessness. You show that they can't punch their way out of this one, and that's when the real fight begins, the one inside them.
So it turns out the problem with overpowered characters was never really about them being too strong. The real problem was a failure of imagination, a failure to give them a fight that actually mattered.
This quote from Carl Jung just nails it. Assyria's story isn't about getting stronger. She's already the strongest there is. Her real journey is about looking inward, confronting the incredible darkness of her past, and trying to find a reason to keep going, a purpose that might make all that suffering mean something.
And that kind of leaves us with a final thought to ponder. Maybe true strength isn't measured by the enemies you can destroy, but by the meaning you can build from the pain you're forced to carry. Thanks for tuning in.